It's the first Sunday morning of December and time for your favorite inspirational program, Spirit Sunday. Kamlamdu kunatibuzana umaqaba ndibhotise kunemzansi siyanamkela kwinkqubo yethu yanamhlanje. Kunzima ukukholela ukubana sesifike ekupheleni konyaka nokuba iChristmas seyifikile. Just to remind you that on the 25th of November, the world began commemorating 16 days of activism against gender violence. And on today's program, we'll continue raising awareness about this important campaign. Okwangoku masijonge ukubana ungalindela obuphi bumnandi kwinkqubo yethu namhlanje. Today on Spirit Sunday, we chat to actor Themba Nofemele. Learn about the work being done by the Little Eden organization. 16 days of activism is under the spotlight in our panel chat. Find out about the Kasi Ballet Center. Dietitian Lila Brooke chats about healthy eating to prevent cancer. And Aya ends the show in song. Remember to look out for our special weekly slot later when we learn about eating healthy to prevent cancer with registered dietitian and nutritional consultant Lila Brooke. Kwaye sakube siculelwa inzwakazi Aya xa siqukumbela inkqubo yethu namhlanje ungaphoswa. Kodwa kangoku masinazise kundwendwe lethu lokuqala. He has played guest roles on many television shows including Generations and mthunzini.com, but it was after landing a role on one of Mzansi's most watched soapies, Mubango, that he earned his way into the hearts of many South African viewers. Ulapha ke zosixelela ngenkolo nomsebenzi wakhe. Themba Nofemele unjani namhlanje bhuti?
Hello.
Unjani?
Ndiyaphila njani sisi?
Sikhona khona.
Yeah, I'm on TV baby.
Siza uqhelile nje every day. Mamela ke. Abantu abaningi bakwazi ke njengoRantume umyeni kaThandaza kuMubango. Khawusixelele ubana usuka phi uThemba?
Well, uThemba ndazalelwe eBloemfontein.
Okay.
Yeah, ePhelandaba ndikhulele khona. Yeah. I had a brother who passed away. Now I've got two sisters and a mother and a father.
Yeah. That's how you grew up. Wangena njani ke kumiboniso banya?
Uyaqala kudala lento I started as a professional dancer at Bloemfontein Pekhoffs. So uthando lami for industry made me move to Johannesburg.
Make ngoku uRantume lo wakho uthethe isuthu. Kodwa uThemba ngumXhosa. Njani?
Ndingumgcina xhamela nokwindla imalambandla
halala
yeah ngimlo Tsoloba Ntonga utata ngumXhosa
yakwazi nosithutha
impressive ndiphume egusheni
okay
utata ngumXhosa wazalelwa eSterkspruit
okay
uhlala eBloemfontein washada umama and yeah ndikhulele eBloemfontein ndikhulele eCaweni umakhulu wami utata omkhulu wami ebeneZion so ndikhulele eZion
okay
and as time goes khulela phansi kotata I used to play piano neaccordion and khule eCaweni in fact I saw Cawe bayibiza imvangeli
okay
nesikhonza kakhulu
master ke ngoku ngeZion lena obukhonza kuyo ne is there some sort of spiritual grounding oyifumeneyo phayana ekunceda ubana ube ngulo ngoba ukhosi maphepha ndabeni kuyaqoneza tabloids zangeCawe zange sambona uThemba ephumele pha inoba iChristianity yakho kanye inkolo yakho ekuncedile bebe ngulo nguwe
yes of course yabona makhulu wami la ebehlala ndifundisa kakhulu ngento ngenkonzo nokuthanda uThixo Yehova so ndilapha because of that every day ndiyathandaza and every day ndifaka iCD zami ezeCawe ndikhonze ndithandaze light a candle yeah
and then masitheleke ngobana not only are you on TV but unayo ne theatrical background yipho ithandayo ngaphezulu kwenye
yabona nxa yeAmerica nekunento bizwa yi triple threat must be able to sing dance and act so in this case andikwazi ukuthi ndithanda idance or umculo or iacting uqithe enye because ziya mele balance as an actor in South Africa and most of our actors here cela bangandibulali abakwazi kuyenza lonto bafocusa kwi craft A1 if it's acting it's acting
okay.
If it dance and I personally believe kuti like it's about time we stretch
be multi-dimensional
yeah.
Ne ifamily yakho ke ngiyaziva njani xa usithi ufuna ukulandela this particular career path ngoba kaloku abazali bethu bafuna utishara nogqirha namagqwetha wena wathi you know
yangathi yazi mos abodada nomama they always think that you know must be a social worker a teacher you know at first maybe I visited Lindaba and they said you know what it's fine. I remember when I moved to Joburg because I'm one of those kids who ran away from home because of I believe in this.
Jeez.
But throughout all, like I always had God with me. I always prayed and said, God, please protect me. And when they saw me first time appear on TV, and I think that is why today when I look back, I think about what I went through and input my career, because they support me right through and everything, understand? So they happy, they proud, yeah.
All right. Now ndiyakubona umuntu okholelwayo unzulu kwinkolo yakho uyamthanda uThixo wakho. Abantu abatsha abaninzi ufumanisa bana bafuna into ezithathekayo, you know, into ezilula, abanaxesha lenkolo, abanaxesha likaThixo. How important is it, do you think, for umuntu omncinci kwaye umuntu omtsha rather ubana abe ne firm belief in Thixo?
When God bless you with a talent, we protect. And it's up to us to get on our knees and say thank you, because without God we can never achieve whatever that we are achieving. And if you don't have that background, you Christ, you believe on Nkulunkulu, you'll never achieve. Akuna shortcut there is no shortcut. You have to pray. You have to acknowledge Him all the time. And it takes, I was talking when you go on to motivate abantwana besikolo, and I was saying to them, it takes only 2 minutes to pray. It's a quick prayer, just saying, "Goes, you know, and you don't have to pray for free." Yeah, so like it's very important as umcha. You have to pray to God to protect you from those things, for you to progress in life.
Okay, phambi koba ndikhululeke Buthemba. Sizaba namandwendwe later on apha enkqubeni abazobethetha nge-16 days of activism against, you know, the abuse of omama nabantwana. What is your message on this particular campaign and theme?
A coward man better abuse omama nabantwana. A coward. A man protects. So I would say to all the men out there and all the youngsters, especially Bafan, to really take care of women. And I would like to say to women, don't let any man, regardless of who you are, bring you down.
I love it. Sakubona ngoba nathi.
Thank you.
Siyathemba ukuba uzawuqhubekeka ukukhula sibone sikubukela. Yaqonda noko you've taken you know strides already, and sikubukela siyamthanda umsebenzi wakho. Continue.
Thank you.
In today's discussion we'll be talking about how society can better use and commemorate the 16 days of activism against gender violence campaign with our guest Lerato Lehwabe, who is a co-director at Women's Net, and she'll be accompanied by Brothers for Life ambassador Colin Tlemo. We'll also bring you a heartwarming story highlighting the International Day for Persons with Disabilities, so stay tuned.
You cannot discover oceans unless you have the courage to leave the shore.
Asifile sinamukela ku-Spirit Sunday, siyanibulala ngohlala nathi. Khumbuleke bungaqhagamshelana nathi ngokusibhalela ku-Spirit Sunday @sabc.co.za kanye ngokusilandela ku-Twitter ngokuya nje ku-www.twitter.com/Spirit Sunday kanye ngasithumelela umyalezo omfutshane ku-34069 uqala ngegama elithi Spirit. The International Day for Persons with Disabilities was initiated by the United Nations in 1992 and is observed annually on the 3rd of December, which was yesterday. This day aims to increase the understanding of the issues around disabilities and attention to the dignity, rights and well-being of persons with disabilities. To commemorate this day, Spirit Sunday visited a home that takes care of intellectually disabled children. Let's learn more about the Little Eden organization.
We are all the hands of Jesus in caring for our neighbors, regardless of race, color, or intellectual ability. Whether you feed a child, make a donation, or give of your time and attention in some way, the important thing is that you make a difference in your lifetime. These are the words of Domitila Hams, who is the founder of Little Eden, a home that takes care of children with intellectual disabilities.
In 1967, Domitila, our late mother, had a very strong understanding in herself that she had to do something, she had to start something. And in the 2 years previous to that, she had messages, she knows she had received messages, basically, you must do something and you must serve. It was always a dream of hers to serve, so it wasn't difficult for her to start an institution, a home. In the beginning, I think she had no concept of what the future would hold. But what she did have was a very strong faith, a complete belief in God, and she knew that every moment of every day she would serve Him either through work or through her prayer. Little Eden was started specifically for people with intellectual disabilities. When you have intellectual disability, it often is associated with a lot of brain damage, trauma to the brain, lack of brain development, perhaps through a long birth or even before birth, through illnesses that has caused damage to the brain, encephalitis, meningitis. There's so many. And when you have some form of brain damage, why should the body work? So you land up with a lot of physical disabilities where there'll be cerebral palsy, children can't coordinate their muscles, or they just can't move in any way because of the level of brain damage. Even if they are 52 years old or 65 years old, the level of functioning is very much more at a baby level. Generally, the placement would be long-term. In the majority of the cases, it's for life. Parents obviously are encouraged to visit. We don't want to take over their child, but we need them to try and be involved, to visit them here, perhaps take them home for a week, once a year if they're able to. But many of our children are abandoned, and some of them really in the sense of financial abandonment. Parents can't even travel or visit, but we try and encourage them. So instead of giving us 20 Rand a month towards the care of the child, we say to them, keep it, collect it, and then you'll be able to come with a taxi, visit your child, and that's more important than giving us 20 Rand a month.
Little Eden has various awareness programs to teach the public about intellectual disabilities. People from different walks of life put on their brightest socks and shoes at the Johannesburg Zoo to support Little Eden's Happy Feet Fun Walk, which was organized to raise awareness for kids who can't walk.
This is the very first fundraising walk that Little Eden is holding, and it is to raise awareness about Little Eden. We've asked the public to put themselves in the shoes of people who may not be able to walk. We take a lot for granted in our lives, and we don't always consider those people who are unable or incapable of doing those things. And this is an awareness to be aware of the kind of disabilities that these children have, but at the same time to recognize the fact that they are people.
We struggle to get funding or funds from organizations because they don't believe that people with intellectual disability will give back to the community. So if they give to them, one day they will not start working and give back to the community or the country. A lot of people think that if you have a child like this, it's a curse, or that it should be hidden, or that you are being punished for something that you did by God, which is not true. They are a blessing into our lives because they teach us certain things and they make us appreciate what we have more.
With most of the children requiring individual round-the-clock care, Little Eden depends on the dedication of specially trained members of staff. The teachers and therapists work with the children at their level, and in some instances, progress is not apparent. However, the children's contentment is the objective.
It's a very demanding job, especially when it comes to work with children with intellectual disability, and who cannot tell you when they feel pain, when they feel happy, when they feel sad. It's very, very difficult. But when I see a child who can walk now and who could not walk when he came, I feel very motivated.
What you have to be able to do each day is when you come in and you leave at night, the children have gone to bed happy, warm, fed. Their eyes are telling me they are content. I know my job is done. It's been difficult, but the job is done today, and tomorrow I must come back and do it with the values of Little Eden: respect, sanctity of life, love and care. We lose children and we suffer, we are sad. So at Little Eden, at both centres, Edenvale and Babsfontein, we have a wall of remembrance, because that is what takes place in life. You have life and you have death. We try to always keep in mind the words that Domitilla said. We will care for them from the cradle to the grave.
The World Health Organization estimates that at least 10% of the world's population, or 650 million people, live with a disability. So it is important to learn how we can better address the needs of people living with disabilities and their family members. We would like to wish the Little Eden organization well going forward. Stay with Spirit Sunday, because when we return, we'll have a chat with Lerato Lekgwabe, who is a co-director at Women's Net, and Brothers for Life ambassador Colin Tlemo, as we highlight 16 days of activism against gender violence. See you after the break.
The first step in achieving prosperity and wealth is learning to appreciate what you already have.
Masmina sinamkela ku Spirit Sunday, ungalibali bungaqhagamshelana nathi ngokusibhalela ku spiritsunday@sabc.co.za okanye ngokusilandela ku Twitter ngokuya ku www.twitter.com/Spirit Sunday okanye ngasithumelela umyalezo omfutshane ku 34069 uqale ngegama elithi Spirit ulandele ngomyalezo wakho. South Africa is still home to high levels of violence against its women and children, despite a world-renowned constitution and a legislative overhaul that safeguards its women and children's rights. To help us discuss how we can better use the 16 days of activism for No Violence Against Women and Children campaign, we're joined by Lerato Lekgwabe from Women's Net. Also contributing to the discussion is Colin Tlemo, an ambassador from Brothers for Life. Welcome to Spirit Sunday.
Thank you.
Ninjani namhlanje?
Siphilile wena
Ndikhona khona. Molo bhuti wami. Lerato mandiqale ngawe. Kha kunibalisele ngeWomen's Net banenza umsebenzi onjani kulo mbutho wakho?
Well, i-Women's Net i-organization yaformwa nge-1998.
Okay.
Kula period ye-transition. Building to constitutional reform. So the Commission on Gender Equality approach i-organization kuthiwa iSangonet, which they want to create an online platform, your website, to allow women from different sectors bakwazi ucontribute batsho bayindoni kanye kanye bayifunayo yona kwi-constitution yethu, to make sure that issues izinto ezi-affecta omama are taken into consideration. And so in a nutshell, I could say that through our work, our constitution that is so highly rated in the world, one of the reasons why it is like that is because it takes into consideration the lived realities of mama, but they also have a viewpoint that is important in shaping our society.
I love it.
So that's the role that we have played.
Okay.
And we do that throughout. We support organizations, mainly those who work on supporting women. A lot of them work around violence against women. And so we provide the tools to allow them to communicate to broader society.
All right. But Colin, masithethe ngeBrothers for Life. Ngumbutho onjani lo nenza ntoni pha kwiBrothers for Life and involvement yakho ithini pha?
Yes. iBrothers for Life, Mama, it's a national campaign that seek to help amadoda, especially when it comes to issues about gender-based violence, HIV, and also it also helps more, especially amadoda now, they are afraid to go and test intentionally. So Brothers for Life, it helps. There's a toolkit that we're using to go out there and talk to men about all the issues that affect amadoda.
Masitheleke ngale campaign lena ye non-violence against women and children abuse, ne? iBrothers for Life yenza ntoni ngale campaign?
Yeah, the campaign then it goes out to the community, and especially, as I've said, to amadoda, ukuthi ikhulume ngawo onke lama issues ukuthi as amadoda we need to make sure that we stand omama bethu, ama girlfriends, ama partners bethu, singabeki isandla phezu kwawo. So that's basically what we doing.
Lerato Women's Net yona iza commemorate njani?
Well, before Ndiagu to speak about what is it that we'll be doing, Tina, up in South Africa, it's very important to note that 16 days of activism is not only observed up in South Africa. It's actually a global campaign where different role players, a lot of organizations, even governments, are saying we should not look away when there's violence against women and children. So what we'll be doing this year, because as I explained, our core is the use of technology to communicate to a lot of people. So we're looking at how our communities using their mobile phones now to perpetuate acts of violence. You've seen with the Facebook rapists. Yes. You've seen there's a kingpin syndicate where they were using Mixit to lure young girls into prostitution, into child trafficking. So as Women's Net, because we work in new media, that is what we'll be doing for the 16 days, working with different partners, Your Power, UNISA, and also documenting stories of women using a technique called digital storytelling to get women to tell their own voices, so that their reporting of news that are specific to them is not done on their behalf. But
not a blanket approach as well.
Because my story, whilst you can benefit from it, it still remains my story, it's not yours. And that I am probably the best person to tell it in my own words. And so as Women's Net, because we believe in creating platforms to allow women to have a space to say and to share. And also we're saying we also revolt against mainstream media. To say, as a woman, my voice is important, and it's actually mainstream. Okay. Yeah. So that's what we were doing.
Okay. Colin, why did you feel the need? Okay, why did you feel it was so important to be involved in this campaign?
Yeah, well, to be part of it, Brothers for Life, I was also working for some organization. Part of that organization work, it was to do it Brothers for Life. And what the kind of work that I was doing is that we'll go to prison, because it's where you find amadota, and like where I work with amadota, because those amadota are available where they don't have a chance, like, we go out there and sit with this man and say, look at the issues, why are you in prison, and then we start talking about it, because a lot of men were in prison. They've committed gender-based violence, they've raped, and they've done all this thing, So the community, they don't say, they just say, these are people that are not good for us, they must stay in there. So what we do, we go in there every day and talk to this man. It's rehabilitating in a way. We train them in Brothers for Life. And I've seen it, it has worked, I've seen so many guys who have called me after they've saved their time and say, Brother Colin, I think Brothers for Life had helped me. Now I've got a job, now I'm working and I'm looking after my family, and I've realized that is not the right thing.
Now that issues unemployment, issues drug abuse, alcohol abuse, and you find that those are the root causes. How do we better address these issues?
Yeah. I think that's a very important point, because this campaign every year. November 25th to December the 10th, we'll be focusing on but rate of violence it's going up. So why? And it's exactly the things that you're raising. At the root of it, we're not talking to people about what is it that is happening in communities?
What is leading to this thing?
Socioeconomic issues, as usual. Number two, people are taking out their frustrations on their wives, their girlfriends. Also, the way that we are parenting nowadays, the broad focus where you have to teach umdanako the values that you want your child to take into society. Those things, because we're so busy trying to find work, trying to survive, basically, that we have neglected some of the things that hold us together almost. Indeed. And I think in addressing this pandemic, because that's what it has become, sexual violence, for example, is normalized in our country. To rape,
I saw tools.
It's something normal. You're living here, even women saying,